We continue our inquest into Ghana's disastrous performance at the 2021 AFCON. And today we are in the office of the Honourable Member of Southton, who is also a ranking member on Parliament's Committee on Youth, Sports and Culture. Honourable Kobe Woyome is my guest on Sports Check. And after this break, we talk AFCON. Welcome back from the break. This is Sports Check, and the Honourable Kobe Woyome is my guest. Honourable.
Hi.
Thank you for welcoming us.
Thank you for visiting me in my office this afternoon, and you're all welcome.
You know, prior to coming here, I was doing some research, and one of my colleagues in the office was like, "Oh, he's not a sports person." I was like, "And a parliamentary select committee crowd, what you is saying?"
Yeah, that's right.
From people like her, what would you say to them? What kind of education? What is the role of the parliamentary select committee on youth, sports, and culture?
Thank you, and welcome to Parliament, precisely my office. And good greetings to my constituents that may be watching, the people of South Tongue constituency in the Volta region. For the purpose of further elucidation and understanding, Tongue means riverside, and that's why when you come, you see the river, giving you beauty of nature. Well, a member, in fact, I would say that the workings of Parliament, for the purpose of oversight, to, as it were, work and ensure that the executive lives up to expectation, are done through committees. And the names given to committees gives you the various ministries that they oversee. We in Parliament approve budget. We approve budget for the appropriation by the executive. We don't just approve for them to just go and we go and sleep. We also do follow-up to ensure that there's value for money in their expenditure, and whatever they do are within the confines of the laws of this country. And so when it comes to the committees in Parliament, they are committees that are well selected per the person's capacity and qualification, given a particular role to be able to do those work. So for youth, sports and culture is just one of such committees in Parliament that oversees 3 ministries per their name: youth, sports and culture. So you see, we oversee the Ministry of Youth and Sports per our oversight responsibility, the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs currently being designated, and partially, I'll say partially and I'll explain, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture.
That was just by the way. Now let's come to the substantive issue why we are here. The Blasters went to the AFCON and they promised to break the 40, but they came home with 1 point, and somehow it's a bag of disgrace. I think Parliament had its bite of the issues, and it delivered, I think what I would say, a great statement on the team's performance. The Speaker subsequently directed that some investigations or probing be done on to ascertain why we disgrace ourselves in Cameroon, if I should put it that way. One, does Parliament have the power to deal with issues of such nature, basically performance of the team, or can you explain to us the terms of the directive?
Oh yeah. Well, as you already know, we actually went to the AFCON with clear intentions, as you alluded to really get back the cup and to end the drought over several years. But unfortunately, it didn't work to our expectation. And the way it went, it was also not too good. It was quite humiliating. And so definitely I had to put together the statement I did. And I thank God it's well received by both sides. I mean, as much as possible, we have come of age. It's time we put politics aside and discuss sports the way, dispassionately, with the way we must, and find solution to some of the nagging issues that confronts us. And so I wasn't really surprised that both sides spoke so eloquently on what ought to be done and suggestions offered. And so, Speaker rightly has requested his committee, particularly the Youth Sports Culture Committee, to go into the matter because it's very important. We need to know what went wrong. Could it be from preparation, or could it be from some technical aspects that probably didn't gel well? Or because if you watch from where we sit individually, there are the playing body are so endowed with skills, but then as a team and the commitment on the field of play and all that, something really was lagging. And so it is through us asking why and what happened and all that. And I think that is what the speaker wants to know, and I think Ghanaians also want to know. Yes, I mean, we are clothed with the powers by the constitution and establishment of parliament and the role as parliament to have oversight over the executive arm and over every public institution and everything that concerns the public.
So, which institutions or persons are you looking to speak to? Is it the FA, the Sports Ministry, or?
No, we speak to all of them. In fact, the committee identified quite all these people that will be invited. We identify all key stakeholders, NSA, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, the GFA, including their technical handlers and everybody, all together. So it's like trying to understand.
So the GFA will be invited as well?
Oh yes, I mean, you can't have this thing done without getting them also invited to hear from them. Because the point is that you can never tell. It could be that probably by the time they requested for money, the money didn't come at that time. Because of these things, preparation, you need time to prepare. You might have put in your request for money and then the money came in at the 11th hour, for instance. Definitely you don't expect a good delivery at the end of the day, because you think all these things are things that might come out. So that next time, government, hey, when requests such as that come, you treat it with the dispatch it deserves.
What about the playing body, the players themselves? Because at the end of the day, they are the key actors. They are the ones who went to the field and did not give us the result that we all expected. Are you going to extend invitations to the Dida, use the Thomas parties, and maybe via Zoom, or for them to speak on what happened in Cameroon?
Yeah, I mean, we might want to have a chat with them. I mean, these are wonderful players that we believe they are. And in their own rights, individually, they are good, they are doing their work. But then maybe as a playing body, as a team, what happened? Is there any infighting? Because the reports we keep hearing is that this person gets the ball, he doesn't want to, he was looking for a particular person to pass ball to, maybe, those sort of, so we need to hear from them. I mean, what's from their point of view, or was there anything lacking?
In the speaker's statement, he made quite something that I find quite interesting, that the report by your committee would decide whether Ghana will play the match against Nigeria in March or not. He says if it becomes necessary for Ghana to forfeit that game, we will forfeit the game, and that's based on the recommendations by your committee. One, do we have such powers to order the Black Stars not to play?
You just answered it yourself, recommendation, because Parliament will recommend to the executive. In fact, you just answered many, we cannot impose, but we are working for the public. And we are doing a scientific research under the circumstance. We are actually looking out to, we are not just conjecturing. We're just not saying things without any evidence. We are bringing those who matter into the picture and asking them questions, some in camera and all that. And so people must be free to tell us what it is. And then when we end up putting all this together, and we think that at the end of the day, looking at the picture that maybe the report paints, then we may suggest that, look, it might not be worth it to just proceed. That we have a lot to do as a country to put things together properly before proceeding.
But would you, the works of the committee, will it be made public? Will people be allowed to attend?
You mean the sittings of the
committee?
Well, we haven't decided. The committee hasn't decided on that. In fact, it came up, so we are looking at it. Because some of the members were of the view that knowing the kind of sharp media we have, we don't want a situation where somebody is taken out of context and muddy the waters, because at the end of the day, want to come out more united, more purposeful in terms of resolution on the way forward and getting the right things done.
You watched Nigeria at the AFCON and they won 3 games. Then they lost to Tunisia in the last 16 stage. Our Black Stars won none, drew 1 and lost 2. When you compare the form of the two sides, I know Ghana Nigeria games a lot to go into it, but are you confident that the Black Stars will beat Nigeria come March?
The way they played,
I mean, based on
with what they played, the way they played, and because I was just based on what I saw in Cameroon, I'm afraid. I mean, but I will not rule the Black Stars out. If we do the right things and put things that we need to do together, we can run over them.
All right, thank you very much. So it's Sports Check. We are speaking to a ranking member on the Parliamentary Select Committee on Sports, Culture and Youth. We are going for a break. Once we come back, we discuss more, maybe the Blacks and their performance, issues of bonuses, and the most controversial topic, the budget for the AFCON. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back from the break. This is Sports Check, and my name is Perez Ezwakwa. The Honorable Kobe Woyome is my guest. We've already dealt with the issues about the Black Stars and the committee set up to probe the happenings in Cameroon. Now we are going to talk a bit more about the budget. Honorable, from where is it? Do you have any idea how much Ghana spent on the 2021 AFCON?
No. I wouldn't know the exact amount of money that was spent. And that's how come it found space in the statement, because it's been a question that has been asked by quite a number of Ghanaians, and the calls that I've received and the talk shows that I have participated on, and they want to know. However, when we're approving the 2022 budget, I mean, I actually saw a sharp rise in the budget allocation for the ministry, and it was quite unprecedented. I will applaud, provided I applaud the ministry for getting that amount, but provided what they were, the source from which they intend to get those monies really comes. So until we get a breakdown, because this interaction through the investigation will also bring all of that.
Is that a bit of a concern that we go into a tournament, we spend before we come back to account to the people? If we so dearly hold Ghanaians, or we so dearly hold on to the principles of accountability, I feel we should tell Ghanaians that we are embarking on this particular mission. This is how much we are going to do, so that in the event that anyone has issues to raise with the amount of money going to be spent, then we can do that. But then we go into the tournament, then we come back. I mean, it's...
You see, in the budget that we approved, you realize that you have an excess of over 300 million. Okay? Yes, Ghana cedis. Okay, that has been allocated.
For ministers.
For ministers of sports. So I want to believe maybe allocation for goods and service, okay, might be what they are spending from. Even though I know they've always overrun their budget, and that has its own consequences. We've mentioned time and again when we are debating their budgets. And I want to believe that that is the reason why this time around they have given that ceiling to their destiny. Line by line itemization of the breakdown of what they intend to do, the projections. What they didn't do was the actual figure for the AFCON campaign was not explicitly, stated in their budget. And so it found expression in our reports on the floor. that we would want to know how much, okay, they actually intend spending on the AFCON alone, which was not clear. However, we can still be doing it this way round, where you have gone and come back, give us a breakdown, which we have requested for, and see how, whether it is within what we approved for them.
Okay. So we've done enough of the budget issues. Now let's come to the performance of the team itself. I mean,
I thought we dealt with it. Anyway, but I think performance, well, below our expectation. Yeah, I mean, below our expectation.
What went wrong for Ghana? Is it
I will not be able to know. These are questions, Charlie, bro, I'm unable to answer. Because I will be lying to you that, you see, that's one of the, even though in the, maybe outside the cameras, I can share my thoughts. But that one is not professional, because I'm not being paid to do a particular work. Those who are really professionals and are being paid, okay, to deliver, we should hold accountable.
Were you impressed with the coaching?
There were problems with the entire technical whole. There were problems. We all saw it. Because there was times my village brain, Taflachet, was telling me that the thing wasn't going well in a certain flank. What was the place? Some place was leaking, and it was consistent. And we must have a policeman there to block any movement. Are you getting me? Yeah. It's like the policeman there is sleeping. Taflachet. No, so what can we do?
I'm actually preaching one of the matches where, from the first half, one of our sides were leaking throughout, and the coach didn't have enough.
So that is why. So I'll ask, technical people, this is what I'm seeing. You are not seeing that. I will say that, because at the end of the day, we are paying you to deliver, and you are a professional. You know the game, because you are the one. You have the third eye for the thing. I don't have it. And so I can't pretend to tell you that I know more than you. So do your work. Are you understanding me? So yeah. I will not go on air or anything and say that Anka, the way to hire, the way to hire. No, it's the last thing I'll do, and I will never do that one.
One of your colleagues, I think the Honorable Frida Prempe, made mention of the fact that these days you don't see pride, hunger, patriotism when the Black Stars are playing. Is it one of the attributes that you think was missing with regards to the team's performance in Cameroon, that the players did not show enough hunger, enough desire to kill themselves for the country? Is that something that you...
That is an observation, and she may be right. She may be right, and that's an observation. That's why I'll talk about commitment. Your ability to die a little, as if you're losing some 50-50 balls, easily, balls that you can equally fight for. And it's like there's a slack, anytime, I don't know. And then, I don't know. I don't understand also one of the things, like you are pushing forward to play, to go and score or whatever, and you end up playing much more within your circles, passing among yourselves, and not pushing forward. I mean, there are several things. So it's an observation made. Like I said, I will not go into those detailed observations, because we want those who have the third eye, who are mandated to oversee the entire thing, come and tell us.
Some people believe that the performance of the team is a manifestation of the general problem with Ghana football, where we've gone from being a top team on the continent to now being one of those teams on the ground. And our league and our football seem to be in a mess. Do you subscribe to that notion that what happened in Cameroon is a representation of basically what Ghana football is?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I agree. I agree that we the football, in fact, sports in general, football in particular, we keep retrogressing, we keep going down. And I think that there's the need for government to assist in building the infrastructure and build the human resource capacity, and to get the local league supported and facilitate rebranding. Even though the clubs may be private owned, government still has an interest because they are the roots bearing the fruits, the roots and the tree bearing the fruits. The fruits being those we call up into the Black Stars. And so if you don't have a good root and a tree to nourish the branches enough to give you good fruits, definitely garbage in, garbage out.
In terms of government investment in sports, are you impressed with what the Akufo-Addo government has done so far?
You see, if you talk about the building of astroturfs and all this, I told you how many of the astroturfs have been built, taking into consideration and consulting football people or sports in general in a particular locality and area and accepting the location. 1. 2, why are you not even building it to meet the international standard? Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
3, are you not helping to ensure that, whilst you situate whatever at any particular area, it becomes so beneficial for the majority in that area? So, the way it's been so planted across the country, dotted all over, there's no science behind it. And they don't even meet the standard. How many of our local teams have a home ground? Can't we use this policy to then associate with the various regions and localities and put up in consultation with them so that it becomes beneficial for the vast majority in an area? And that also helps to build the schools movement at the grassroots. And that also helps them to have the school sports, because you have a place to be training. Okay? Because when you spread it well in consultation with the key people, take politics out of it. Don't go and say, I want to go and build something for some people in that some area because they will vote for me. When you do that, you go and put up Taflache, you go to, you will end up sending fridges to the Eskimos to buy. Or, if you are not very careful, you will think you want to sell heaters at the Sahara Desert. That is it.
My last 2 questions before I wind up on this interview. The bonuses issue, the issue of bonuses to the Black Stars players, is one of the things that you're going to consider in your report, such that after the work, we now have a definite amount or a design amount for the Black Stars when it comes to bonuses.
That one, we will discuss it. I wouldn't want to say anything much about it because they are motivational. They are motivational in the sense that something to just motivate people to die extra.
Do you think we should continue paying bonuses to Black Stars?
Oh, it's not a bad idea, but it should be the ability to pay. It shouldn't be like you are pulling the hair from somebody's nose. Even if you don't have, you have to go and look for it from wherever, at the expense of other equally important state needs. And so you balance it. And for me, it's a matter of sitting with all who matter, including our beloved players, to also appreciate the state in which we find ourselves and collectively agree. But it is very important to pat their back for a good work done. So motivating them, I'm for it.
My last question. We are in search for a new Black Stars coach. Now, reports since Friday indicate that government seem to have their candidate. The FA also have their candidate. And neither side is willing to compromise. So government has Chris Hilton, whom they want to be the coach of the Black Stars. The FA, on the other hand, we understand the president was in Germany to speak to former Black Stars Wenger Tuado. Looking at the development between these 2 countries, looking at the fact that we have barely weeks to play Nigeria, What do you make of the whole situation?
Well, I would think that they should allow the football people to suggest, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with them. If you ask me, let them suggest and let the government roll along. But of course, government must demand reasons. And once they make cogent, I mean, they stand good reason why they are doing whatever. Once it sounds convincing, and that it must be made to know that it comes with a price if there's a failure. That's it.
Finally, will the reports of your committee be made public?
Oh yes, I mean, it will be submitted on the floor at plenary, because that is where it was requested. So when we are done, we'll have to submit it on the floor for other members to also have a bite on the content, and so it will be made public.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for
Thank you. But then there's something I want to just, again, you see, all the astroturfs and all those field, sporting whatever that were built, the source of money for that is from the National Youth Authority, and then 5%, when we're doing that law in 2016, His Excellency John Mahama was the one who says, after approving the District Assembly Common Fund formula here in Parliament, we should allocate by law 5% of that amount to the National Youth Authority, because of how important he sees the needs of youth in Ghana be viewed and looked at and improved upon. And so those releases annually was where those fundings came. And so when they are praising those constructions, let Ghanaians remember the architect brain behind those, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Thank you very much. And this has been a riveting conversation with the ranking member on Parliament's Select Committee on Sports, Youth and Culture. We discussed the blasters, the committee set up to probe the issues. We also did a bit of politics by saying that we should credit the Mahama administration for the assertive that we see around. This has been Sports Check and Perez as well. So we'll meet again. Macron.